This is how you target spirit on Vow robes or any other armor pieces. First, we start with a tier 1 increased energy shield. Now that is perfect. I take that back. That is not perfect. We're 2% off. We add a... Wow, I can't even think straight. This is just too good. Very serendipitous indeed. I like it. Yes, me gusta. Man, I just enjoy hitting a nice base every now and then, right? So this is a beautiful base simply because what we were looking for was a tier 1 energy shield percentage or the flat energy shield mod, right? The single mods, not the hybrid. The tier 1 hybrid, ignore that when you're trying to go for spirit. We also have a resistance, which is very nice when you fracture, but what we're going to do from here is go to essences and then bring a greater essence of the infinite and tag it. And now bring it back to your workshop. Now we have a fracturable base, and what we want to fracture here is the single 108 increased energy shield or intelligence. However, the fire resistance would also make for a good one. So this is why this base, it made me a little bit hard. I'm gonna increase the quality, and then I'm gonna tag it with a few divines. See if we can get higher than 108. We didn't get higher than 108, but we did hit that 40% increased fire res, which I like. Now we activate an Omen of Sinistral Necromancy. We can't do it from the tab, so we bring it over to the inventory, activate it, and hit it with an Ancient Rib. And now we have a very fracturable base. It's time for the fracturing orb. We got the one that we didn't want. It's going to be very difficult for me to hit spirit on this piece. However, let me show you the steps I would take before doing so. We need to peel from that increased energy shield with our Omen of Hamanananagans. So let's just go ahead and activate the Sinistral Exaltation so that we only add a prefix with our Omen of Hamanananagan Exaltation so that it peels from the prefix from the current modifiers, and we're going to actually hit it with a perfect orb, even though I already know it's going to give me a tier numero 5. And now because our Hamanananagan gave us the other single flat energy shield, we have an opportunity to continue this craft. However, if it didn't hit that single energy shield mod, I personally would have just gotten another base and crafted this a little bit different, not specifically aiming for spirit because it becomes a little bit harder without that single mod fracture. However, because of the RNGs being a little bit on our side, we are able to continue this craft. So let's take this to the well of desecrations. I mean, we're not going to go completely unprepared, obviously. Take that, bring it back. Now this is beautiful because we can always Omen of Light this desecration and keep rolling until we hit spirit, but maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't, and obviously we didn't. Activate the Omen of Loose, and then boom, remove the desecration and just try it again. Bring it over and reveal that spirit. Reveal the spirit. I didn't reveal the spirit, however, we revealed a tier 1, and I can't believe I'm gonna roll a tier 1 mod hybrid. Now, there is a part of me that wants to keep this, restart the video with the new base. However, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna remove it. Another 2 Omen of Loose, and remove it one more time, and we keep rolling. Now, the reason I don't mind spending so many Omen of Lights is because if we do hit that spirit like we just did, this could be worth hundreds of divine, especially with that 4th socket, you understand me? And we buy a perfect orb. We can now work on our final suffix, and what we're trying to homogenize here is a resistance off of that fire res, so we're going to deactivate the Omen of Sinistral Exaltation so that it allows us to exalt that last and final suffix. Now we're going to be using a perfect exalted orb because somebody in the comments said I should be using perfect exalted orbs. Faster start of energy shield, not bad. Add those runes in there, and now you have your piece. I don't have any divines. Let me just go grab a few off of Ange. Now what we want to do now is divine these modifiers and roll them to their higher end percentages. So as long as we have this combination with higher end at the higher end of their range, we should be good. I personally like to keep an eye on the energy shield. As long as I get more than 833, we can now stop and check the item. This is pretty solid. The 51 spirit is on fort, but it is what it is. And there you have it. That's how we would target spirit on a Vow robe. Obviously, this whole procedure would have been a lot easier if we had fractured a tier 1 energy shield mod. Either one of these two works. What you would do then, I'll actually make another video and make sure that I get that fracture. That way you guys could see a more streamlined process about it. It is a tier 2, however, on this item, the tier 2 is very, very viable. And now for the most important part of the evening, the Temple of Corruption. Make sure you have the Omen of Corruption and just go ahead and grab